I mean, literally the only people who watch VTubers are literally people who watch anime or who have watched anime. And then they spend their lives just watching fucking YouTube and VTuber shit. or fucking J-pop or K-pop or whatever. Korean dramas. Fucking whatever the cause is. Or looking for just video games. Guilty. And then you got the stereotypical fat otaku, right? Or the stereotypical neat. Just happens. What's it? Oh, that was home for Oh, it's the Mills. Runs away from the press as she refuses to answer a single question. Oh my god. Just learning Japanese or needed content? Ah. Oh, there we go. What is this? Shows that she is done. Challenging Trump was her final political mistake. Yeah, that was fuck. Oh, I'm not gonna listen to the federal law. Oh, well, too bad you're not gonna get federal funding. Peace out, bitch. Oh, man. Shit. Maybe we should watch the... Fuck, man. Executive orders. What else was there? Oh, yeah, there was the press briefing, too. And then Kathleen Kennedy's out. Oh, God, too much shit. Oh. Okay, let's check out White House. What's going on?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
How are we today?
Hello.
Good. During his inaugural
Did you
address,
walk?
President Trump promised that America would be a manufacturing nation once again, and liberal pundits mocked him for it. But those critics were proven wrong once again. On the heels of President Trump's
yeah, I don't understand that either.
meeting with Apple
I guess they don't want America to be making shit anymore. Instead, they just want to keep buying shit. That's probably costing us way more money because they keep tariffing us.
Over the course of the current Trump administration, Apple plans to hire around 20,000 new workers, creating high-paying jobs right here in America. And the investment isn't limited to one specific region of our country. Apple teams and facilities will expand all over our country in Arizona, California, Iowa, Nevada, North Carolina, Michigan, Oregon, Texas, and Washington. With President Trump in charge, America
borrow and consume versus
Apple
save
CEO
and
Tim
produce.
Cook said it best in the company's announcement. We are bullish on the future of American innovation. On top of
well, I mean, we're not even saving. We're just fucking burning money.
in pledged investment into the United States.
That inflation ain't going down anytime soon, right?
President Trump to fulfill. This administration's
money printer go burr.
Continue to prove extraordinarily successful. In President Trump's first month back in office alone, illegal border crossings hit lows not seen in decades, down 94% over the past year, while interior arrests are up 134%.
Paying $1 trillion interest per year.
This is a significant statistic that I wanted to share with all of you. There were only
that doesn't sound fun.
220
To what?
illegal border crossings on Saturday.
Doesn't seem like it's going to the right place.
Think about that in comparison to the amount of illegal border crossings we saw under the previous administration. Fox recently
Well, I
reported
mean,
that a
as
San
long
Diego
as they put
migrant
the
shelter is
fucking
closing its doors
army
after
there,
saying they have not
so that
received
none
new
of the
asylum-seeking
cartels
families or
can start
individuals
bringing in
since
other shit.
January 20th. We all know what happened on January 20th, don't we? And yesterday, New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced that the massive Roosevelt Hotel migrant shelter in Manhattan will shut down in the next few months. We're
Okay, so
also
he is
seeing
shutting it
a
down.
reverse migration effect. There are now
Yeah,
verified reports
shit,
from the
fucking New
Associated
York
Press
is overrun
of
too.
migrants abandoning their journey to the United States and heading back home. This is the first time the Border Patrol has received these reports since 2020, during President Trump's first term. The returning migrants claimed in interviews that the new heavy security posture adopted by the Trump administration was a significant reason for their decision to return to the countries of their origin. Overall, the American people continue to overwhelmingly give President Trump very positive remarks. Nearly every one of President Trump's
I don't
policy
know. The
initiatives
Democrats
are
have been
receiving
saying
strong
otherwise.
majority support. And I have noted that in every briefing since Inauguration Day.
Oh, okay.
81% of Americans support deporting illegal migrant criminals from our nation's interior. 76% of Americans support the DOJ-led efforts of a full-scale investigation to find and eliminate fraud and waste in government expenditures. Again, this is from a Harvard-Harris poll, a very legitimate pollster.
Wait, you
76%
said
of Americans
Harvard
support
Harris.
closing the border.
69%
69% of Americans support President Trump's common
It's not
sense
Kamala
efforts
Harris,
to
I
ban
don't
men from
think.
women's sports. As you all know, we celebrated that executive order at the White House a couple of weeks ago. 65% of Americans support the president's efforts to eliminate all preferences by race in the hiring and awarding of government contracts, which is another pledge that DOJ is working hard to fulfill. And 61% of Americans, vast majority, support the president's plan for reciprocal tariffs to ensure that other countries are treating us the way we have always been treated.
She didn't.
Despite what
Wow.
many Democrats and media members.
She didn't actually say DEI this time. She actually said the correct terminology.
Want you to believe the Trump agenda.
Because
is
yes,
not
they are
necessary.
essentially
It is
fucking doing some
overwhelmingly
discrimination shit.
Why?
Really
Because it's
fucked
driven
up.
by common sense. And finally, as you all saw yesterday, a federal judge denied the Associated Press's emergency motion for a temporary restraining order against myself, our Deputy Chief of Staff Taylor Budowich, and our Chief of Staff Susie Wiles for our decision to remove the Associated Press from the White House press pool for certain and special events. The judge's ruling, upholding our decision to deny the Associated Press such privileged access, reinforces the truth. And it reiterates what I said from this podium.
Calling out the fucking Associated
last
Press.
week when that suit was filed. Asking the President of the United States questions in limited spaces such as the Oval Office in Air Force One is a privilege that unfortunately has only been granted to a few. It is not a legal right for all.
Yeah, basically, those are invitational one, right? The Oval. Wait, what was it? The Oval Office and.
Press from the White House press pool for certain and special events. The judge's
Oh yeah,
ruling,
certain and
upholding
special
our
events.
decision to deny
Yes.
the Associated Press such privileged access reinforces the
Yeah,
truth.
because those are
And it
invitational
reiterates
based,
what I said from this podium last
and
week
they
when
can
that suit was
revoke your
filed.
access if they wanted to.
Asking the President
I mean,
of
you
the
can be in
United
the
States
general
questions
stuff, but not this
in
and
limited
these ones.
spaces such as the Oval Office in Air Force One is a privilege that unfortunately has only been granted to a few.
The
It is
Oval
not
Office
a
and Air
legal
Force One.
right for all. The Trump administration has already proven to be the most transparent ever, and this president the most accessible in history. This is evidenced by President Trump's daily press conferences in the Oval Office, where he takes many questions from the journalists who have the honor and privilege of standing before the beautiful Resolute desk. The president and this entire White House are committed to ensuring the American people continue to receive this same level of historic transparency, access, and visibility. In fact, we want to double down and give even greater access to the American people. We
Oh,
want more
opening,
outlets
yeah.
and new outlets to have a chance to take part
I was
in
thinking
the
about
press
that.
pool
But
to cover this administration's unprecedented
that's a
achievements
pain.
up close, front and center.
I don't
As
think
you
I
all
can.
know, for
I don't have that
decades, a
kind of
group
money
of
to go
DC-based
fucking
journalists,
be a
the White House
journalist and go
Correspondents
fucking
Association,
traveling all over the
has long
fucking United
dictated which
States.
journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore. I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team. Legacy outlets who have participated in the press pool for decades will still be allowed
I gotta
to
go
join.
sign up.
Fear not. But we will also be offering the privilege to well-deserving outlets who have never been allowed to share in this awesome responsibility. Just like we added a new media seat in this briefing room, legacy media outlets who have been here for years will still participate in the pool. But new voices are going to be welcomed in as well. As part of these changes, we will continue the rotation amongst the 5 major television networks to ensure the President's remarks are heard far and wide around this world. We will add additional streaming services which reach different audiences than traditional cable and broadcast. This is the ever-changing landscape of media in the United States today. We will continue to rotate a print pooler.
Are they coming?
Of quickly transcribing.
Are they looking towards streamers and podcasters and
the President's remarks and disseminating them to the rest of the world.
Maybe a new journalist media outlet.
The privilege to partake in this experience,
who knows?
But are committed
Maybe a new printing shop. Who knows?
Continue to rotate
a new newspaper.
Other radio hosts who have been denied access, especially local radio hosts who serve as the heartbeat of our country. And we will add additional outlets and reporters who are well suited to cover the news of the day and ask substantive questions of the President of the United States, depending on the news he is making on that given day. This administration is shaking up Washington in more ways than one. That's what we were elected to do. As I have said since the first day behind this podium, it's beyond time that the
maybe when I get one of those press passes, I can ask the President when I can get a house.
A select group of DC-based journalists should no longer have a monopoly over the privilege of press access at the White House. All
and then he's gonna tell me,
you're
never gonna own a house. Never gonna own one.
So by deciding which outlets make up the limited press pool on a day-to-day basis, the White House will be restoring power back to the American people who President Trump was elected to serve. So in that note, in our new media seat today, we have Shelby Talcott, who is a White House reporter for Semaphore. In 2022, Semaphore launched as a global digital news platform with the aim of bringing meaningful innovations to the news industry.
Okay.
Today, they have nearly 1 million newsletter subscribers spanning 11 separate editions. With that, Shelby, I will take your questions.
I knew it.
I've got 2 for you. One on foreign policy. Over the weekend, the President's Special Missions Envoy, Rick Grenell, was talking about Venezuela, and he said that the President isn't someone who wants regime change. Other administration officials have made clear that they don't see Maduro as the rightful leader. What is this administration's policy on a new government in Venezuela?
I think the President has made his position on Venezuela quite clear. He stands in opposition to the Maduro regime, and Secretary Rubio has spoken on this extensively as well.
And then on Doge, last night Elon Musk said that a failure to respond a second time will result in termination. Will there be additional rounds of the what did you do this week email from Doge to federal workers? And what's the guidance on the federal workers who've been instructed by their agencies not to reply?
So a couple of things on this. First of all, let's just take a step back and talk about this idea. The President sent out a truth last weekend to Elon Musk saying he loves everything Elon is doing and he wants him to be
sent out a truth social.
Thus far has proven incredibly successful in making our government more efficient. And so Elon and Doge came up with this idea. Elon has implemented this at his private companies. It has proven successful. And it's a very simple idea when you think about it. All the Office of Personnel Management is asking, all this administration is asking, President Trump is asking, is for federal workers who live off of the American taxpayer's dime to send 5 bullet points of what...
Also, this is easily to weed out people who aren't actually doing any work. Right? If you literally cannot say 5 fucking things, it's like, dude, what are you doing with your fucking life?
What they have done in the previous week. That is all we are asking for. And so the Office of Personnel and Management sent out additional guidance last night. Those responses should be directed to agency leadership, and the president defers to his cabinet secretaries, who he's obviously entrusted to pursue the guidance relative to their specific workforce. And for some of the agencies that you've seen who have said, please don't send these emails, it's in their best interest for that specific agency, and the president supports that. And let me be very clear, the president and Elon is his entire cabinet are working as one unified team, and they are implementing these very common sense solutions. You're welcome. Jackie.
Thank you. One follow-up on that question. So about the deadline, Alina Habba said that you have until tonight. Elon Musk said a failure to respond a second time would result in termination. So is that a real deadline? Should federal workers be looking to that guidance, or should they be looking to the agency heads? Like, what is the actual deadline?
So again, the agency heads will determine the best practices for their employees at their specific agencies. Again, this was an idea that Elon come up with. Doge worked with OPM to actually implement the idea, and the secretaries are responsible for their specific workforce. And this is true of the hirings and the firings that have taken place. And we advise federal workers, unless your agency has dictated you not to respond to this email. In fact, I can announce that we've had more than 1 million workers who have chosen to participate in this very simple task of, again, sending 5 bullet points to your direct supervisor or manager, CCing OPM. I actually participated in myself. It took me about a minute and a half to think of 5 things I did last week. I do 5 things in about 10 minutes, and all federal workers should be working at the same pace that President Trump is working and moving. We have a country to save, and we want this federal government to be responsive to the needs of the American people who re-elected this president to have historic massive.
I find it strange that a lot of these people who work in these fucking agencies don't know how to fucking work with people. Or just at least talk with people. And it's not even really fucking talking that much. Like, just say 5 things. Do you really hate this person's guts that much to not say 5 things? Especially to your fucking boss you're supposed to report to? What the fuck? Jesus. Fucking cooked.
Of this idea is.
Can you clarify one thing, though? Because Elon Musk also said that a reason that they wanted this 5 things email was just to see if people are actually alive, citing that there are some federal workers.
I mean, given what the fucking, that whole Social Security fucking shit was, yeah. I'd really want to fucking know if those people are alive.
Alive. So, meantime, NBC is reporting that these responses are going to go into an AI generator to evaluate whether these jobs are necessary. So is it just to see if people are actually working, or is it an effort to maybe cut some of those jobs?
I have not seen that NBC News report, and I haven't heard that from Doge or from Elon himself. Again, this is to ensure that federal workers are not ripping off American taxpayers, that they are showing up to the office, and that they are doing their jobs. That's what the American people expect, and it's a very simple task to complete. I did it myself, and I was more than happy to do it because I'm very grateful that I am serving the American people on the American taxpayers' dime.
Doge should hire a spokesperson just so that Elon Musk doesn't put out tweets that then confuse federal workers.
Are my press briefings not good enough?
Why do people care about one person? Dude, you people need to, you people are so fucking cooked. For Elon Musk to get up in your fucking feelings about this shit is insane. Fucking insane. Just this dumbest question. Oh, why is he tweeting on his social media platform on his account? I don't like it. I don't like what he's saying.
Thank you.
Dude, you gotta fucking stick up your ass. Shut the fuck up. My God.
Brought against yourself and your team members here, President Trump. In there, he said, "Why not just do away with the entire White House Correspondents Association along with it, because essentially they have no authority. They just usurped it. What is your reaction to that?
It just usurped. Nice choice of words.
Well, first of all, John, it's great to see you. And you are one of those individuals who has you're on a streaming platform that hundreds of thousands of people tune into every day. So it's great to see you in the briefing room. I did address that actually in my opening remarks by announcing that the White House press team in this administration will determine who gets to enjoy the very privileged and limited access in spaces such as Air Force One and the Oval Office.
Yeah, so, yeah, right, and there's a reason why they only allow certain people. Right, and I thought that was always the case. Right, they only sent out invitations only for, right, these certain areas. And for the press access, the full briefing here, this is open to everyone, right?
There are, as you know, look at this room, hundreds of journalists who show up to this building every single day and are not.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is the open space for everyone. Right? The other two, though, right, those are on the president's time. So, I mean, if you don't get an invitation, that fucking sucks, right?
Granted
Too
that
bad.
luxury of flying on Air Force One and asking the President of the United States questions. And so we want to ensure, again, everyone has a seat at that highly coveted table. But alas, the legacy media outlets who have been doing this for quite some time and have invested resources into covering the White House, their spots will remain, just like they have in this briefing room as well. Sure. Steve.
Could you give us an update on the negotiations around the Ukraine minerals deal, and when is President Zelensky going to come visit?
So the president talked at length about this yesterday.
Wait, wasn't he
critical
coming by
minerals deal,
Thursday?
With President Macron, and in the more than
Or
hour-long
weren't they
press
doing
conference
something
he gave
Thursday?
all of you in the Oval Office himself. There hasn't been significant updates since the president's remarks last night, but I will just reiterate his position. It's critical that this deal is signed. He expects President Zelensky to sign a deal. This is to recoup American tax dollars that have been funding Ukraine's national defense. And it's also great for the Ukrainian people who have been put through hell because of this war. And it will create a lasting economic partnership as Ukraine will need to rebuild their country because of this brutal war.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're gonna help me build the fucking country after all that shit, man.
I don't want to comment on Mr. Witkoff's travel plans or read anything out just for obvious reasons, but he, remains very much working. That man is working around the clock to secure this deal with Russia and Ukraine alongside Secretary Rubio and Secretary Bessent, General Keith Kellogg. He's also working very hard to secure a peace deal in the Middle East as well. So God bless him, and he's working alongside the president every single day. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. The president's executive order creating DOGE called for the naming of a DOGE administrator. Who is the DOGE administrator?
So the president tasked Elon Musk to oversee the DOGE effort. There are career officials and there are political appointees who are helping run DOGE on a day-to-day basis. There are also individuals who have onboarded as
So basically, Elon Musk is overseeing, and then there's probably the cabinet, some cabinet members overseeing it because, right, since Vivek Ramaswamy wasn't going to Doge, right, they probably had to put someone else or other people.
Political appointees at every agency across the board to work alongside President Trump's cabinet to find and identify waste, fraud, and abuse, and they are working on that.
I guess they're trying to. They they want particular names. I think that's what they want. And I know why they want their names. You shouldn't give them their names. You should definitely not give them their names. Oh, these people are gonna try to do some fucking shady shit, that's for sure.
Reagan.
The administrator?
Reagan.
Thanks, Caroline.
Especially, right, it doesn't make any sense to want to stop them from literally just looking at books and looking at the books, information, just to see if there's anything going on. I don't understand. Makes no sense.
One on the border wall and one on the DHS investigation.
You should always check your work. What are you doing?
Sure.
Always fucking check your work. Make sure there's no fucking inconsistencies. There's no fucking typos, right? You don't want fucking typos. You don't want to fuck up on a period or some shit or on spacing, right? Come on. Don't make the dumb mistakes. Oh, just don't do it.
Border wall construction has restarted.
Cuz it's just gonna fucking look bad for you.
Contracts awarded under Trump's first term. Is the president looking to secure new contracts, and how is he defining success in terms of border wall construction this administration? The border wall is a signature promise of President Trump's campaign. He talked about it way back in 2015 and 2016, and people laughed at him for bringing up this idea. It's proven to be not only an idea that he delivered on in his first term and continues to deliver on in his second term, but it's also proven to be highly effective. In fact, we know where there were parts of President Trump's border wall built and standing under the previous administration.
Yeah, what happened to our materials that fucking Biden sold off?
Legal border crossings dropped 87% where there was a border wall. So the wall is an incredible deterrent factor for illegal migrant caravans. The president is committed to the continuation of the construction of the wall. And, you know, the previous administration actually sold off the resources that the Trump administration secured to build the wall. And that's an egregious
they did
misuse
that.
of the American taxpayers' money. They just let those resources rot on the southern border. They actually sold
Yeah,
them.
well, I mean, yeah, because they weren't doing any work for so long, so you had the materials just fucking sitting there degrading. So it's like it's better off just to sell them since you're not gonna fucking do anything. You dirty fucks. You fucking fuckhead.
For pennies on the dollar. So this administration, DHS and ICE and Customs and Border Patrol and Tom Homan and all of the great people you know who are working on this effort are committed to continuing the construction of President Trump's border
The
wall.
motherfuckers want to get stabbed.
People who might be leaking within the administration. Will the White House release the names of the individuals that DHS Secretary Noem said were caught leaking details of the ICE raid? And can you share how many leakers have been
Oh yeah,
caught so
that
far
was
and what
another
agency they
thing.
were
Yeah, I forgot about
I
that.
would
They were
defer you
leaking.
to DHS on the leakers that they have identified, but I know the president and this White House commend Secretary Noem for launching an internal investigation to identify those leakers because it's unacceptable for career bureaucrats who are standing in the way of the will of the American people.
Yeah,
and
that
enacting
was
President Trump's
weird.
agenda. If they don't want to adhere to the will of the 77 million Americans who reelected President Trump, then they should go find another job. And if they continue to leak information, especially information that is critical to protecting Border Patrol agents and ICE agents who are out there doing jobs that not many people.
Yeah, the fact that leaker did what they did, you know that you're putting those people in danger too. Right? The reason why they hide their information is so that they don't get fucking got. Literally.
People are willing to putting their lives on the line to protect our
Literally
national security,
fucking destroying the fucking security of people. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
This administration is committed to finding them. Sure.
Don't be a Hassan,
Unrelated to
please.
Guantanamo Bay, the other to the White House correspondent. I wanted to get your response to some Washington Post reporting of the migrants.
Don't be a
who stayed
fucking
over
Destiny.
At Guantanamo Bay for the last 2
Right?
weeks.
And
They
fucking trying to destroy people fucking well-being and security and fucking... like, dude, don't do that. You're asking for trouble. Well, I mean, Hassan wasn't doing it, but fucking Destiny for sure was being a fucking weirdo. That's for sure.
The Post, they were rarely let outside. They were shackled and placed in what they described as cages and alleged that they were not treated as human beings. Does the White House have any response to those conditions?
At Guantanamo Bay? It's a promise the president campaigned on. That
Yeah,
if you
there's a lot of
lay
people
down
who
at these
should be
borders,
shipped
if you
there
break
and
our
then
country's
shipped
laws,
out to
and
sea.
if then you further
Hogtied.
commit heinous, brutal crimes in the interior of our country, like raping and murdering innocent, law-abiding women and girls, and committing heinous acts of violence, then you are going to be deported from this country, and you may be held at Guantanamo Bay. These are criminals we are talking about. Don't forget that. Sure.
So U.S. consumer confidence fell this month, the most since August of 2021. What is your message for Americans who are concerned about the impact of things such as tariffs on prices?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for that question. It's obviously an important one. The president campaigned on reigniting the Trump economy and fixing the mess that was created by the previous administration. We know they created an economic and an inflation nightmare for the American people, and I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you like my predecessor did about the state of our economy. We understand there are people that are hurting, and this administration is wholeheartedly committed to ensuring that those individuals see relief and price reductions and tax cuts and in less regulations that are burdensome on their household and their businesses. And the president and this entire administration are focused on that every day. I can go through the very long list of economic actions this president has taken. I know you work for Bloomberg, so I'm sure you're well aware of them, but I can assure the American people that the president is very much focused on bringing down the cost of living crisis in this country that was created by the previous administration.
Just have a quick follow-up. Is the president planning on whipping any votes for support for the House budget vote, and if so, to whom?
Faire rapatrier.
I'm not aware
Faire
of the calls that he
rapatrier.
made. I did talk to the president about his
Immigrer.
position on this
Immigrer.
before coming down here.
Transmigrer.
And
Transmigrer.
he said that he's made it very clear to
Transmigrer.
the Hill what his priorities for a budget are. He's said it to the Speaker of the House. He said it to Leader Thune. The Senate and the House know what President Trump wants and know what the American people want. And so he expects Congress to get it done. He's looking at the proposal from the House. He will also be looking at
Canard.
the proposal that I believe the Senate is drafting up as well. Sure.
Le con.
Le con.
Et
L'idiot.
l'apostrophe idiot.
Wait, what?
Et l'apostrophe idiot.
That's not right.
Le stupide.
Well, why don't you identify your question and I'll come back to you. Sure, go ahead.
So, what guarantee that Israel will
Um.
withdraw from Lebanon soil after 2 weeks, as the ceasefire terms indicates?
I'm not sure about the guarantee that you're referring to. I can tell you that this administration remains very much engaged. We know the deadline for the Phase 1 ceasefire is imminent. So Steve Woodcock, whom I mentioned earlier, and the president's administration and his team and the president himself remain very much engaged.
Va
We want to
baiser
see the
ta mère.
ceasefire continue, and the president has made it very clear he wants to see all of the
sorry.
hostages who have been held in captivity in
I don't even know if those are
returned.
actually fucking
Elon Musk going to attend the president's first
French
cabinet
profanity.
He is, as a matter of fact. I spoke to the president about that before coming down here as well. And Elon, considering he is working alongside the president and our cabinet secretaries, this entire administration will be in attendance tomorrow just to talk about Doge's efforts and how all of the cabinet
So
secretaries
Doge
are
is coming up
identifying ways fraud and
tomorrow.
abuse at their respective agencies.
We're
We look
talking
forward to the meeting tomorrow, and I think you'll be hearing
more
from the
information.
president and his cabinet. We're
Ooh.
there on campus tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited.
Oh, okay. So there's a big day tomorrow. Okay, all right. I'm free. I got no. Oh, I got homework to do.
The FBI was, the DOJ was, the
That
Did
face.
anonymous sources say that? or did the
I
cabinet
won't be
secretary
able
say
to.
that?
Well, I won't be able to stream it
have said
live,
that
but
they're
I
not
can
aware that
stream it
this is
later.
happening. So I'm wondering, will there be a give and take tomorrow at the cabinet meeting? Is Elon Musk or the president open to any type of dialogue about who is actually in charge of the chain of command of these workers?
I would
Unique.
reject the premise of your question, Jeff. The cabinet secretaries have
Bien
not said that. I know
Demare.
anonymous sources, probably career bureaucrats, have leaked that to many of you in this room. But as I said at the beginning of this press conference, everybody is working as one team, and the president respects the decisions of his
That's a
cabinet
different way.
secretaries to tell his staff, their staff, not to respond to that email because they did so out of interests of national security, and they don't want to obviously risk confidential information. It's pretty common sense. Dasha.
Musk has obviously been doing a lot of work. He's been
Mail.
working every day and a lot of the time weekends. He is designated as a special government employee, which means that he can only work 130 days per year. Is the White House expecting him to limit his work to 130 days, or are you going to work around those rules? Do you want to see him extend beyond the 130?
So today is
Voulez-vous
February 25th, so I think we've been here about 35 days roughly. So ask me in another 100 days. Daniel.
Caroline, thank you. You opened up with a major announcement from Apple $500 billion, 20,000 jobs, doubling its advanced manufacturing fund.
Yeah.
What does that signal that such a global brand would make what it called its largest ever spend commitment just a month into President Trump's second term? What does that signal about his economic vision for the country?
President Trump is a deal maker, and he has restored confidence in business leaders around this entire world. Apple is one of the largest companies on the face of the planet. They employ hundreds of
but
thousands of
fuck your
Americans,
mother.
but the president
That's
wants
what it
to
is.
see more Americans employed, more investments here
But
in the United
fuck
States
your
of
mother.
America. And this is another fulfillment of the president's campaign promises. I recall President Trump at his rallies on the campaign telling the world that if and when I am elected, America is going to be back, and we want your investments to be driven onshore. We want you to hire American workers, and you will have the lowest regulatory burden, the lowest tax cuts, and the president has already proven he's committed to slashing regulation. He's counting on Congress to implement those tax cuts.
Tu vas baiser ta mère.
Are encouraged by the president's, again, as Tim Cook called it, they're bullish about American innovation because of the leadership of this president. And
I'm being fucking shocked.
The previous administration, Joe Biden, who I don't think spent any time trying to recruit any investments or jobs here at home. Mary.
We're hearing from some Republicans who are voicing concerns about how these cuts are being carried out. Congressman McCormick, a Republican from Georgia, tells us he's worried it's too rapid for real people to adapt to. And he says he's concerned that it could come off as discompassionate, in his words, that it could risk undercutting the strong message that he feels you're trying to send about.
Tu es un connard.
Well, I think that was one comment from one senator, and I think, as I cited in my opening remarks in the poll, the most important people are the American people, and 77% of Americans at home support a full investigation into the waste, fraud, and abuse that the federal government has been spending their tax dollars on. So,
why did they ask the same? Why do they keep asking the same fucking question? Like every day with them. It's the same fucking questions. Please! Ask him fucking something new. Stop asking about the fucking tax dollars. They're still investigating. Jesus.
The people the president cares about
This
most.
better, oh well, I don't know which one they're talking about in particular.
The president yesterday said if you don't respond to this email, you will be fired or semi-fired.
Oh, not this shit again. Why do you got just... You people are fucking cooked.
What does he mean by that?
Again, I've been asked to answer this question 3 times now. It is but it's in the memo. The president again has entrusted his cabinet secretaries to oversee their workforce. That's why he nominated them to be cabinet secretaries, and so federal workers can be directed to their agency leadership.
Sure.
Great, thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about a federal judge yesterday was saying that they didn't know who the Doge administrator was and was asking the lawyer for the administration who it was, and the lawyer responded, I don't know the answer to that. Can you tell us who the administrator of Doge is?
Again, I've been asked and answered this question. Elon Musk is overseeing Doge. No, Elon Musk is a special government employee, which I've also been asked and have answered that question as well.
Yeah.
There are career...
Like he's literally the one heading it and overseeing it. You keep asking who's overseeing it. It's fucking Elon Musk. She said this like 4. She keeps repeating this every fucking week, dude.
Officials at Doge, there are political
like Jesus fuck.
I'm not going to reveal the name of that individual from this podium. I'm happy to
like if she I think they want the other names of the employees. I think that's what they want. Right? They're looking for the other cabinet officials. Right, instead of but they're not asking that question, right? They're asking who's overseeing it. Well, it's fucking Elon Musk for the 4th fucking time.
And provide that to you, but we've been incredibly transparent about the way that Doge is working. John.
The Republican budget.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Since your last briefing, there have been some personnel moves that have been announced by the president, and I wanted to ask you about them. One was the president replacing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown Jr. What was the reason for the president naming a replacement for General Brown? And then I'll follow up with another personnel announcement that's been made over the last few days.
He thinks he's doing a bad job. And it's time for a shakeup at the Pentagon. They failed 7 audits in a row. The trust in our United States military amongst the war fighters is low. The president is shaking up the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, of course, with Secretary Hegseth leading, and he has the right to do that. It's actually quite common from administration to administration to do such a thing.
The president, when he swore him in as the Chief of Staff for the Air Force, called him a great man and a great gentleman. Does he distance himself from the remarks that he made back in August of 2020?
I think replacing him speaks for itself. James.
There's one other one, if I'm sorry, thank you. On the FBI, the president also announced a new deputy director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. From what has been reported, and maybe this is not accurate reporting, you can tell me, the FBI director, Kash Patel, informed Republican senators that it would be an individual named as the deputy who was a special agent currently at the FBI, and of course Mr. Bongino is not. What was the reason for naming Mr. Bongino to this position, and was Mr. Patel not correct in making that assurance to those senators?
I'm not sure if anybody in this room has listened to Mr. Bongino when he talks about the past corruption at the FBI, when he talks about his experience serving for the United States Secret Service. This is a man who loves his country and who has honorably served our country in ways that many people have not. He understands the depth of the corruption at these institutions, which the American people re-elected President Trump to shake up. And I think it's quite despicable to see many networks in this room who have had chyrons on their television screens labeling Mr. Bongino as a far-right podcaster.
Yeah, that's a weird one. The dude bled for your country, and they're labeling a far-right podcast. Jesus.
He is not. He is a former law enforcement agent. He is a former Secret Service agent who put his life on the line to protect this country, and that is why the President of the United States has entrusted him for this important role. He's also an outsider to this Washington swamp, and we often see that when outsiders are appointed to such coveted positions, a lot of people in this city get very,
they get all in their feelings.
Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Attorney General Bondi are focused on rooting out the corruption at these agencies and ending the weaponization of government once and for all. I'd like to end with something. As you all know, you know what, James? I'm feeling generous. Go ahead.
I will take it. Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
I wanted to ask
Don't make me regret this.
I wanted to ask about the Macron visit and the Russia-Ukraine talks in general. It's
Sure.
pretty clear to my eye that President Macron
Oh yeah,
was performing
that's
a kind of
the
delicate
one on
dance, lavishing
Thursday.
praise on the president while seeking in his own
Macron
remarks to try
one.
to bind President Trump to positions and even specific language that the president has not committed to heretofore. One of the most bracing comments from President Macron was when he said that the deal that President Trump is negotiating with the Russians must not be, quote, a surrender for Ukraine. All of the public points that we have heard from
Yeah. I hate when politicians do that shit too. Because right. Well, you would have to know a lot of context for that, but a lot of people don't know who Macron is. Macaroni. The macaron. But no one's gonna understand his point of view because not everyone's fucking listening to him on the United States side. So like when he makes some of these comments, it goes over people's heads because there's fucking context missing. And a lot of politicians need to stop doing that shit.
President Trump, from Secretary Hegseth, and from other administration officials talking about these negotiations have averred to, quite openly, to concessions from the Ukrainians that will have to be made. The minerals deal, the abandonment of their NATO ambitions, and other elements. So far, we have not heard any administration official suggest a single concession that the Russians should be prepared to make. And so I wonder if you could assure us, at a minimum, that this negotiation process will not be as one-sided as the Europeans seem to think it is, that in fact, President Putin will also be made to engage in some concessions to reach this deal.
Well, I think the president knows how to make a deal better than anyone who has ever assumed the office of the American presidency. And in order to make a deal, you have to bring both sides to the table. And typically, when you make a good deal, both sides leave that table a little bit unhappy. I'm not going to outline the concessions that the president and his team are engaged in discussing. These are obviously ongoing negotiations, and it would be unwise of me to impede them from this podium. But the president has made significant improvements in ending this conflict. He is committed to seeing an end to the war. He wants to see the bloodshed and the killing stopped. He wants to stop seeing young men being killed and slaughtered. This has been going on for far too long. The president inherited this mess because of the incompetence of the previous administration, and he's committed to fixing it. And he's made, some of those concessions clear, but I'm not going to get ahead of him on additional ones. But he is wholeheartedly committed to striking a peace deal in Russia and Ukraine, also in the Middle East. Thank you very much, guys. Good to see you. We'll see you later.
There you have it. A lot of repeating of the same fucking questions. It's really getting fucking annoying. I'm just gonna say it. That's really fucking just... Why can't people just ask new shit? You've been asking the same fucking shit for weeks on end. Like, what the fuck? You guys are fucking cooked, man. Again, tu es a canard, eh? Yeah, even though I fucking said that wrong. Anyways, our Piker is 100. Oh well, here we go. Yeah. A song gets mad at fucking Nux talking about. It's funny. All right, on to the next. Get the losers, liars out of there. Yeah. Fucking CNN. All right. Anyways, there's the White House briefing.